Hello, I'm Antonia and this is Noel and we are from Boxtail Soup Theatre Company, and again we are in our studio. We have had a busy week. We've been working on, well, I've been working on the costumes for the show, so carrying on from what I was doing last week. You have been spray painting and finishing off bits like that.
Yeah,
also
tidying,
doing some other...
all kinds of little bits and
Yeah.
pieces. You know, at this stage there's lots of little things that need doing. So little bits of tidying up paint, little bits of correcting little, bits of set and bits of props here and there. I also had a bit of a, let's call it a sad experience. With the doors and the stuff that I'd already painted on the outside, when we then went back and did a run of the show, we realised that, again, things had shifted slightly, things, just needed to be a bit more secure. So even though all the paint was finished, I did take a little video, in fact, just before I had to respray them, yeah. Even though all the paint was finished, I had to go back and punch holes in a bunch of stuff and put more magnets in it and cover it with raw papier-mâché again. So I then had to paint over all those little patches and try and make them blend in so that they don't stand out.
But actually, to be fair, it didn't take you, to touch them up, it hasn't taken you too long. And
No,
they look good again. No,
it didn't take too long. And again, it's one of those things where you sort of, if you want it to work and you want it to be the best it can possibly be and you want it to look the best it can possibly look, then you have to be just prepared to do that. You have to be prepared to kind of go back and do something that's potentially frustrating or something that's, that maybe you wish you didn't have to do. Accept
the extra work.
Yeah, just accept it and get on with it. And now everything's working nicely now and it all looks good again, so I can relax. I can't relax,
No,
there's lots of other work to do.
We have started, I have started today, starting to decorate the set a bit more. So I think, did you say this is in shop?
It is, yeah.
So these are what the books on the bookshelves are going to look like. I've just been measuring up all of the rectangles so that I know what size paper to cut. Then I'm putting gold pen on them. And then the last thing that will go on is the text fabric. So that's what they'll end up being like.
It's really nice. And it, like we were saying last time, the paint is one stage where you get to sort of see the colours and stuff and it starts to look nicer. And then this elevates it again. So it's really, even just seeing that little bit, it's got me excited to see what it's going to look like in the end, yeah.
So that's my job for today, is probably just making books for the rest of the day. And meanwhile, shall we show some costumes?
Yeah, for sure. Do you want me to grab someone or?
It's all right, I'll grab.
Yeah.
So here's our, I'm just going to hold it like that. Here's our librarian. Noel has done an absolutely epic job of painting her glasses to look like tortoiseshell. I'm not sure how much you can see from a distance, but honestly, if you're right here, they look exactly like tortoiseshell glasses. We've kept the scarf that she had on. I don't know if we showed her during rehearsals, we might have done.
Maybe.
And then I've just given her some little red cuffs as well to kind of tie it all together. So I'm really pleased with her. She looks looking good.
Yeah, she's great.
And then, shall we do...
yeah, I can grab someone or...
I think
train conductor on top there.
Yeah. So here's the train driver without his hat.
I feel embarrassed for him.
Hat hair, yeah, there we go. He will have, I think I said this last week, I still haven't done it, text fabric on his hat. But I finished his costume, so he's got this nice little sort of neckerchiefy scarf thing. He's got buttons to finish off his waistcoat, and that's poppered together so that we can remove it if we need to, if there's any repairs that need to be done to the body. So he's looking smart.
And this is just the front of the waistcoat, isn't it?
Yes, so I slightly cheated with him because he's an incidental character and he appears twice. And really I would have given the waistcoat a black back anyway. So rather than do that and waste fabric, I've just attached the front of the waistcoat to the shirt itself. So it's just black at the back.
It's just a good idea, but in terms of saving weight and saving fabric and saving time.
Because the more you add fabric, obviously, the more weight you add. And actually you'd be surprised how heavy fabric, well, maybe you wouldn't be, but how heavy it is. So it's just a waste as well. It's a waste of fabric to do back. So that's a cheat way of making it look like a waistcoat, but actually it's not.
And then finally, I think we talked briefly about Gayton last week because we were talking about the shirt not being white.
Yes. So I'd made the waistcoat, I think, last week, I don't think I'd put the buttons on, I can't remember, but I put them on now. He's got this nice tie, which I think is my dad's old school tie. And then he's been given a black shirt properly. And in fact, I discovered a really helpful way. So obviously the puppets don't have necks, proper necks. So a shirt tends to sag down at the front, revealing their kind of cardboard décolletage. So I have put some Velcro in the shirt and Velcro on the cardboard underneath to hold the collar up to a point where it would be on an actual person. And that has just looked so much better. And actually, I wish I'd thought of that in previous puppet times, because I've often had to kind of alter the collar and like tighten it, and even then it doesn't quite work, and I've had to add extra pieces or given them a scarf or whatever. So that is a trick I'm going to employ.
It was a great solution.
Yes, again, because I think that worked really well. Then there's Karswell.
Shall I grab him?
Yeah, we might have to, he's been pulled onto the floor because...
Yeah, so he might be a little bit disheveled.
I'll try and just tidy him up a little. But he's looking very grand now. Is he going to be too tall for the camera if you hold him as high as
you don't think so. I think he should be okay.
Are you sure? Okay. So we had a bit of a nightmare with him actually yesterday, because I tried to change, this fabric is the old fabric that we used for the old puppet when we did this show back in 2014. And I hate this fabric, it's horrible. It's some kind of very cheap, awful bedsheet that we bought. I don't know who would want to sleep under that, it'd be hideous. But so I tried to change it for some slightly better quality poly cotton fabric that was also quite thin, but it was too stiff. It held its shape too well, and consequently, it didn't have the nice movement that this one has. So having fought with it and tried to make it work, we just were like, this is silly, we need to go back to the old fabric. However, I have updated him, and he's now got this nice kind of cape-like top to his costume. And he's also, I've matched the collar with the same fabric. I've put the same fabric on the front. So he now looks a lot smarter, because our worry was when it was just this fabric, which does need steaming, I am aware of that. He looked a little bit not quite as finished as the other ones. So after a fight with him, we're now quite pleased.
Yeah, it was another one of the same sort of situations, wasn't it, where it was frustrating, but you just have to
persevere until you get the right thing. Because the other problem we had was, for some reason, and we still don't really know why, we'd updated the shoulder of the shoulders of that puppet, and with the new version, and perhaps it did happen with the old version, but perhaps we just weren't as aware. Basically what was happening was every time you put your hand in, the shoulder, the other side, was tipping.
Yeah, where you were taking the weight of the fabric, because the shoulders were just supported by string, essentially, where you were taking the weight of the fabric on that side, it was tipping the shoulders.
So they were going completely wonky.
Yeah, so when you tried to lift your arm up, he
just looked awful. So we spent ages thinking, is it because we're trying to add fabric to the top of him? Is that why? Is it getting caught on the arm? And then we just basically decided to counterweight it on the inside. We've just used some old coins, 2p's and 1p's. And that's fixed it.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, actually, we tried to reduce the weight of the body a bit with the new iteration, but actually all that's happened by adding those coins is made it the same weight as it always used to be, which was never too bad, was it?
No, and it's a bit sturdier and it's a bit better put together. So, and overall he looks better, which is the only thing that matters in the end.
So there were woes, weren't there, for over the last couple of days, but we fixed them and it was worth it. And that always happens, you sort of feel, it's that classic thing, isn't it? You feel like you're pretty much there, and then there's always a couple of little things that just go slightly wrong.
Absolutely.
And I've no doubt there'll be a couple more, and that's fine, because that's just the way it is. But so far, so good, and we're really pleased with how everything looks and how that we've managed to fix those slightly more major problems.
Yeah, it's very, very close now to just kind of the very final finishing touches, which is great, very exciting.
So I think that's all we have to say for today, really. As always, if you are enjoying the vlogs, please do give us a thumbs up, leave us a comment, ask any questions you would like, subscribe to the channel. Welcome to the new subscribers. And there are always more things these days. Well,
yeah, as ever, the ticket sales for Edinburgh are going really well. So thank you so much if you've bought a ticket already. It's absolutely brilliant. that is, it's absolutely fantastic. Can't thank you enough. If you haven't bought a ticket already, then why not book now? If you're going to come and join us, that'd be great. And if you're not going to the festival, but you know someone who is, tell them about us and send them our way. We would also greatly appreciate that.
Or the show is on tour after. So there are the dates, there are quite a few dates now up on our website. And actually, for those that I'm getting ticket reports for already, those tickets are also selling quite well. So if you do want to come to see this show on tour, please do book in advance, because I actually think they might get full, which is, I can't quite believe I'm saying that really, because since COVID, that's not really been an issue. So please do have a look at that if you would like to see this particular production on tour. Then do see whether it's anywhere near you.
Everybody loves a ghost story.
Everybody loves a ghost story. But that's all for today, and we'll see you next week.